Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you stack silver and you like getting updated on a daily basis of what's happening around the world, then you've come to the right place because I cover it all. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unbiased. I try to expose the truth. So make sure you subscribe. Definitely click the bell so you immediately get notified, especially if something important happens. And there is a lot going on. We have an article from investinghaven.com. Silver, the most bullish development of 2024, goes unnoticed. There are very bullish trends occurring in the silver market that set the stage for a spike in the price of silver, which also goes hand in hand with this very interesting article. Gainesville Coins outlines the major global factors that could affect precious metals assets performance in the coming months. And they dive into some very important things, even highlighting back to 2008, which led to $50 silver in this economic anxiety. But there's also another article, or actually a video I'll probably show, because he's breaking down silver sentiment and looking at this positioning in 2024. That is just a very tiny little glimpse. A much bigger picture is unfolding, and I'm going to cover it all. But for the sake of this video, I want to cover this article from investinghaven.com. So it's talking about bullish trends occurring in the silver market that set the stage for a spike in the price of silver. This was written yesterday. Everything I post is fresh off the press. The silver market has a very bullish profile. We would argue silver is very bullish. This conclusion is contrast with the lack of bullish silver price action. And here's another reoccurring theme. Everybody that makes a video or an article covering, and it's not even just silver in general, whether it's gold or whether it's all assets, all say silver is looking very bullish. And it's not just from speculation, it's from a chart-based perspective as well. There's numbers behind it, there's data behind it that's also showing that this is likely going to happen. What is the time frame? Who knows? Nobody has a crystal ball. I don't even think the time frame is really important. I think that's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, since we're not stacking silver to get rich. Silver is what makes us rich. It's more comparing it to the dollar's demise as you transfer fake money into real money. But at the end of the day, looking at it from a technical perspective, silver's price is looking like it will go up. So the silver price versus the silver market. This is a lot of where the problem lies. Before looking at one of the most bullish developments in the silver market, we need to distinguish two concepts: the price versus the market. We are very bullish on silver, meaning we expect the price of silver to move much, much higher, certainly to $50 an ounce, even though the exact timing of the start of this big silver run remains tough to predict, especially with so many different variables in price manipulation or COMEX corruption. So the prospects for a rise in the price of silver is rooted in the physical silver market situation combined with the paper silver market conditions. That's the COMEX, what I was just mentioning. On the one hand, as said in the past, a silver supply shortage has been developing in recent years. And developing is an understatement. It is scary. It is scary. And I just covered a video, or I made a video yesterday covering news that Mexico, the biggest producer of silver, their reserves will be dry by 2026. And that is not, that's not just some crazy myth. That's real. Mexico, the biggest, largest producer of silver by the year 2026. If you guys want proof, I can show you right here. Mexico running out of silver by the year 2026, worsening supply deficit. That's the article I covered. Mexico could run out of silver by 2026. And that is the world's largest silver producer, could mine all of its existing reserves within 2 years. And it's crazy because all of the silver that we mined in the past decade will be gone within 2 years. So the surpluses we accumulated in 10 years will be gone within two. That is scary stuff. That is very, very scary stuff. And I really want you guys to understand how dangerous this is, since we're trying to go green for a certain type of reason. We're not just doing it just because we feel like it. We're trying to, if you believe in this global warming and climate change, regardless if you do or not, that's why though. So anyways, the prospects for a rise in the price of silver is rooted in the physical market, and that's combined with the paper. And here's the thing. Every ounce of silver you hold in your hand, there are a lot of other people that theoretically own that same exact ounce on the COMEX, because there is not a one-to-one ratio as it is portrayed. It's way out of whack. There's way more paper contracts than there is the physical metal. And once that gets exposed, we'll see what silver's true price really is. So on the one side, the supply shortage has been developing in recent years, started a few years ago, and the tipping point was reached approximately a year ago. And that's not even also including that global silver industrial demand is forecast to reach new highs in 2023. So you have Mexico, the largest producer, which is running out of silver by next year. So the world's largest silver producer could mine all of its existing reserves within 2 years, throwing silver's global supply-demand balance even further out of whack than it is currently. Mexico regularly outputs about 5,600 tons of white metal over the past 10 years, but has seen its reserves dwindle to just 37,000. If mining continues at this current pace, Mexico's silver reserves will be exhausted by the end of 2026. So when we talk about a rapidly diminishing supply and a rapidly rising demand, this is a recipe for disaster, and a lot quicker than even I thought, because by the year 2026, its reserves could be depleted. Mexico, the biggest, that is who we rely on. So on the one hand, we have developing shortage, and this is just the tipping point. That's where I think this will push silver to quote unquote explode. Here's a tweet from Investing Haven. Silver shortage continues to intensify. Silver price chart continues to improve, but only if you pay attention to the chart details and ignore the feelings that come along with consolidation. Sooner or later, silver price will react to this reality. And that's a very good point. I always tell people, invest with your head, not your heart. Head, not your heart. Because when you're investing off emotions, you're not thinking rationally, because you're wanting something to happen. You get frustrated, and times are crazy right now, and you're already influenced by all this other stuff going on, all these wars, and then maybe your investments in the red a little bit, or whatever the case is. That is not a good place to invest. Think of two different people. There's two different guys that buy silver, or gals. Two different people. Just think of two different people right now. The one person is very anxious. He pays attention a lot, but very anxious, more of the glass half empty type of person. Maybe, just really emotional and really invested into this, which could be a good thing, but he's just very, very attached and always worried if the price goes. And then there's another guy who's very cool, calm, collect. He understands when price goes down, but he doesn't let it affect anything because he knows it will most likely play out. Which one of those two people do you think is going to be more successful? The guy that's cool, calm, and collect. He's not jumping off of his emotions and making sporadic decisions. Why do you think it's called impulse buying and panic selling? The two things that destroy most stackers, or where people lose money. It's off of emotions. It's also why trading bots like AI bots are so accurate, because they don't have emotions. Robots don't have emotions. But yeah, so that's a good point. Take away the feelings. So here's another one. Silver seeks silver shortage confirmed. Mexico's silver supply has dropped off a cliff, by John Forrest Little. Silver is currently at one of its most undervalued levels in history, especially compared to gold, as the gold to silver ratio stands at 85 to 1. Yeah. If you were going to buy silver or gold right now, silver is by far the better investment or option. I won't even call it an investment because gold is at all-time highs. You don't want to buy something at its highest price it's ever been. You want to get in before the curve. You want to get into something that hasn't taken off yet. Silver hasn't taken off yet. Gold has. So you don't want to buy high, just hope it goes higher. You're supposed to buy low, sell high. Don't buy high and just hope it goes higher. That's gambling. Investors make strategic decisions based off information. The information shows that silver, like all these other articles, silver is waiting to take off. So why would you get into gold if silver's the one that is cheap right now and hasn't caught up to gold? Even more so that gold is higher. So it makes even more sense to invest in the silver because silver always follows gold. And there's a supply deficit, which goes off the fundamentals of something that has physical attributes, intrinsic value. Like, it's a no-brainer. Right now, silver's a much better option than gold. They both have places, and gold is still a great option, but right now, silver's a much smarter, wiser investment. So yeah, that's just where I'm at right now. So I'm not going to go into like the net trade, short traders and all that, but let's look at this though. How will silver's price react to these bullish developments? Ultimately, what matters to investors is the reaction to the price of silver, and they recap. They're getting increasingly tighter. Industrial demand keeps rising. Pivotal moment about a year ago. It's only getting worse. Better for investors. Physical supply is suffering, as evidenced by recent news in Mexico, one of the top producing countries in the world. It is the top producing country. The paper market allows for more upside potential because of the low concentration by the top 4 traders short, similar to 2015. And there's another bullish development in the paper silver market, which we did not mention in detail. So, I mean, you could also talk about a lot of other stuff with that, like corruption. But regardless, yeah, silver's a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. I don't think I have to throw any more points out there, even though there are lots of other points, which I'll be covering in a little bit. If you want to, stick around, check out my other videos. But yeah, so, it's just something you got to pay attention to. The news about Mexico, the reserves running dry, or not even reserves, the silver they have. I think that's what they were saying they're, all of its existing reserve within 2 years. And then that's scary because then even trying to catch up, there's still all of the surpluses they made in the last decade was wiped out within these 2 years. So now there's no catching up now. It's impossible to catch up. Look at this. It took just 2 years of undersupply, the 2022 deficit, and the 51 million ounce shortfall to wipe out the cumulative surpluses from the previous decade. So it took 2 years to wipe out all of these surpluses from the previous decade. So all of this silver they made up in the past decade is gone within 2 years. That is insane, especially coming from the most critical country we rely on to get silver. So anyways, yeah, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Silver is the better option. I do love gold, but silver right now is the new gold. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Make sure if you guys wanted to purchase some silver, SlayerMilesFranklin.com. Also, make sure that you guys subscribe because I do post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.